Irena Sendler, Unsung Heroine of the Holocaust. Irena Sendler was born on February 15, 1910, in Warsaw, Poland. Raised in an environment steeped in humanitarian and social activism, her father, a physician, instilled in her the importance of helping others. His death from typhus, contracted while treating patients who others avoided due to their illness, deeply impacted her. Before World War II, Poland's political landscape was marked by instability and shifting powers. The resurgence of nationalism and the strengthening of militaristic ideologies in neighboring Germany and the Soviet Union heightened tensions. Poland's strategic location made it a focal point of interest for these aggressive powers, setting the stage for conflict. Irena Sendler's educational journey was deeply influenced by her early exposure to social issues. She pursued studies in law and literature at the University of Warsaw, but her true passion was social work. This led her to a career dedicated to helping some of Warsaw's most vulnerable populations, including orphans and the elderly. The outbreak of World War II in 1939 dramatically altered the course of Sendler's life and work. Germany's invasion of Poland in September of that year marked the beginning of a brutal occupation that would last for 6 years. The war brought widespread suffering and devastation to Poland, laying the groundwork for Sendler's future resistance activities. In 1940, the Nazis established the Warsaw Ghetto, confining over 400,000 Jews in a small section of the city. The conditions were horrific, with severe overcrowding, starvation, and disease rampant. This inhumane confinement was part of the Nazis' broader strategy of oppression and extermination, profoundly affecting Sendler's mission and responsibilities. Irena Sendler, working with the Polish Social Welfare Department, was ideally positioned to aid Jews during the Nazi occupation. She utilized her role to provide Jewish families with necessities while covertly aiding their escape from the horrifying conditions they faced, demonstrating her deep commitment to humanitarian efforts, even under great personal risk. The establishment of Zagota, the Council for Aid to Jews, marked a critical turn in organized resistance against Nazi atrocities. Sendler's involvement in Zagota enabled her to expand her rescue operations significantly. She played a key role in the council, focusing primarily on the rescue of Jewish children from the ghetto. Using her position within the Social Welfare Department, Sendler ingeniously forged essential documents for Jewish families. These documents often listed fictitious Christian names, enabling Jews to hide their true identities. This risky strategy was crucial for their survival, as it provided them with new identities that allowed them to evade Nazi detection. Sendler's methods to smuggle children out of the Warsaw Ghetto were both daring and innovative. She used ambulances, sacks, and even coffins to sneak children past Nazi guards. Sometimes, she led them through underground tunnels or hid them in cargo loads, each time risking her life to save others. The Catholic Church and other institutions played pivotal roles in Sendler's operations. Many priests and nuns collaborated by providing hiding places in convents and orphanages, or by assisting in the falsification of baptismal records. This network of support was critical to the success of Sendler's mission to save as many lives as possible. Irena Sendler's rescue missions were supported by a network of trusted accomplices who played crucial roles. Among them was Janina Grabowska, a nurse who helped smuggle children out of the Warsaw Ghetto by hiding them in ambulances and medical bags. Their courage and quick thinking were pivotal in the success of many operations. Personal risks were immense for Sendler during these operations. She often disguised herself as a nurse to gain access to the ghetto, constantly risking arrest or worse. The fear of discovery loomed large, but her commitment to saving lives outweighed the dangers, driving her to continue her clandestine activities despite the risks. However, the inevitable happened in 1943 when Sendler was arrested by the Gestapo. Despite the severe threat to her life and the possibility of her mission being compromised, she maintained her resolve. Her capture sent shockwaves through the underground networks that relied heavily on her leadership and resourcefulness. During her imprisonment, Sendler endured brutal interrogation and torture. The Gestapo was relentless, using physical and psychological tactics to extract information about her network and the children she saved. Despite the severe pain and the risk of death, Sendler refused to betray her associates or the whereabouts of the rescued children. Ultimately, Sendler's life was saved by a daring act of bribery, orchestrated by Zagota, the Council for Aid to Jews. Members of Zagota managed to bribe Gestapo officials to secure her release, allowing her to escape execution. This moment underscored the solidarity and bravery of those involved in the resistance and highlighted the lengths they would go to save one of their own. Irena Sendler meticulously kept records of the children she rescued to preserve their original identities, storing their names in glass jars buried under an apple tree in a neighbor's garden. This act was crucial for possibly reunifying the children with their biological families after the war. After World War II, Sendler dedicated herself to reconnecting the saved children with surviving relatives, a daunting task given the widespread displacement and chaos. Her detailed records became invaluable, guiding her through the complex process of tracing family links scattered by the war. Despite her efforts, the reunification process was fraught with challenges. Many children had been adopted, and some families were annihilated during the Holocaust, leaving no survivors to claim the rescued children. This often left Sendler in heart-wrenching situations, navigating delicate emotional landscapes. During the communist regime in Poland, Sendler's heroic wartime activities were suppressed, and she faced ongoing suspicion and surveillance. The state's control over historical narratives meant that her sacrifices and those of her colleagues were largely unrecognized during her lifetime. Recognition of Sendler's bravery came much later, as the world began to acknowledge her contributions to saving Jewish lives. Her story gained international attention, highlighting her as a symbol of courage and compassion, and bringing her efforts into educational discussions and humanitarian reflections. Irena Sendler's life under the communist regime in Poland was marked by obscurity and hardship. Despite her heroic wartime efforts, the communist government often suppressed recognition of individuals involved in resistance movements, favoring collective accomplishments over individual acts. Recognition for Irena Sendler's selfless actions during World War II came much later in her life. It wasn't until the collapse of the communist regime and the rise of a more open society in Poland that her contributions began to be publicly acknowledged, shedding light on her bravery and humanitarian work. In 2007, Irena Sendler was nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize, highlighting her profound impact on saving Jewish children during the Holocaust. Although she did not win, the nomination served as a significant acknowledgement of her courage and dedication to human rights. The educational initiatives inspired by Irena Sendler's legacy aim to teach future generations about her humanitarian efforts and the importance of compassion and bravery. Schools and programs around the world now include her story as a central example of moral courage during times of atrocity. Among the many accolades received by Irena Sendler, some of the most prestigious include Poland's Order of the White Eagle and the Commander's Cross. These awards honor her indomitable spirit and significant contributions to saving hundreds of lives during one of history's darkest periods. Irena Sendler's motivations sprung from a deep-seated belief in human rights and the moral duty to help those in peril, irrespective of the risks. Influenced by her father, a doctor who treated many Jewish patients, she grew up with a strong sense of social justice that later fueled her wartime activities. Comparing Irena Sendler to Oskar Schindler reveals both similarities and differences. While Schindler saved Jews through employment in his factory, Sendler risked her life smuggling Jewish children from the Warsaw Ghetto. Both displayed extraordinary courage, but operated in very different spheres of the resistance. The role of women like Irena Sendler in World War II resistance movements highlights an often overlooked aspect of history. Women, typically underestimated by Nazi occupiers, were able to maneuver more freely and execute plans under the radar, proving instrumental in various underground networks. Sendler's influence extends into modern humanitarian efforts, emphasizing the power of individual bravery and compassion. Her legacy teaches that one person's resolve can defy the tide of history, inspiring contemporary movements to uphold human dignity against oppression and injustice. Her portrayal in media and popular culture, though not as widespread as some wartime figures, has been impactful. Films and books about Sendler's life and work, like The Courageous Heart of Irena Sendler, bring deserved attention to her sacrifices and heroism, serving as educational tools that keep her legacy alive. Irena Sendler's life sheds light on the crucial role of unsung heroes in historical narratives. Her courageous efforts demonstrate how individuals can effect monumental change during times of crisis. Stories like hers enrich our understanding of history, emphasizing that behind well-known figures are many others who also sacrificed and contributed significantly. The ethical dilemmas Irena Sendler faced while rescuing children from the Warsaw Ghetto highlight the complex decisions involved in such missions. Each act of saving a life often came with heart-wrenching choices, balancing the immediate safety of children against the potential long-term consequences of separating them from their families and culture. The psychological toll on Irena Sendler from her wartime activities was profound. The constant threat of capture and the weight of responsibility for countless lives likely left deep emotional scars. Her resilience and dedication, despite these burdens, underscore the strength required to navigate such extreme circumstances. Sendler's upbringing and family background played a pivotal role in shaping her moral compass. Raised in a household that valued compassion and social justice, these principles deeply influenced her actions during the war. Her father's role as a doctor who treated all patients equally instilled in her a strong sense of duty to help others regardless of their background. Documenting and verifying the exact number of children Irena Sendler saved poses significant challenges. Records were often lost or destroyed during the war, and many of those she helped were too young to remember their origins or the exact details of their rescue. This uncertainty adds a layer of complexity to fully appreciating the scope of her heroism. Irena Sendler's personal life was marked by simplicity and dedication to others, overshadowing her own relationships and family. Married 3 times, her marriages were influenced by her wartime activities and the stresses of her mission. She had 3 children who grew up sharing their mother's legacy of compassion and bravery. Throughout her life, Sendler reflected deeply on the moral lessons her experiences taught her. She believed firmly in the sanctity of life and the moral duty to aid those in peril, regardless of the personal cost. Her actions during the war underscored her conviction that one person can indeed make a difference. Preserving Holocaust history through stories like Sendler's is vital. It ensures that the horrors of the past, along with the tales of heroism and humanity that emerged, are not forgotten. Such narratives not only educate future generations, but also serve as poignant reminders of the depths and heights of human behavior. The implications of Sendler's work extend beyond her immediate actions during World War II, influencing global humanitarian practices today. Her model of courage, resourcefulness, and empathy continues to inspire those in social work, emergency response, and beyond, emphasizing the impact of personal commitment in crisis situations. Reflecting on Irena Sendler's enduring impact and legacy, it is clear she was more than just a historical figure. She was a beacon of hope and moral integrity. Her life reminds us of the profound effect one individual can have on the lives of many, shaping not just history, but the very fabric of human values.